this WrestleTalk news, Tony Khan breaks the silence on CM Punk in AEW, the original Kevin Owens War Games plans, more WWE re-signings, and so much more. So subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
It's Friday. You know what that means. I'm going to say the words CM Punk AEW 5 times into a mirror and see if he reappears. Because 2022's longest running storyline, the saga of Charles Michael Punk, trundles on as we're still getting to the bottom of the he said, she said at the center of the CM Punk debacle in AEW following that backstage locker room brawl after All Out, which saw Punk, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega served with suspensions from the company. But never mind the Elite, because it's really your old pal Phil who has the biggest question mark hanging over him, as reports point towards him being completely done with the company and likely to be bought out of his contract. And despite the fact that nothing's moved forward, really, what is driving this story, and part of the reason I'm forever trapped talking about it on Fridays, is that there's been no clarity from either Punk or AEW about what went on and how that actually all resolves. But as ever, we have a tiny little wee bit of information more than we had last week, because on the media call ahead of Full Gear, CEO Tony Khan addressed some of the rumours while sort of batting them away as well. Because when asked to clarify Punk's status with the company, he said, "I can't comment on that. I have nothing but positive things to say about the contributions that CM Punk has made in AEW on screen, and I certainly have a lot of positive things to say about the things he did in AEW to date, but I understand why you'd ask, and I appreciate you asking. Kindly f*** off. Yours sincerely, Tony." Feels very pointed that he said on-screen contribution. Now, one of the other aspects of the story which got sort of swallowed up by the brawl aspect of it is Punk's media scrum rant, which started the whole thing, and some somehow still believe there is an outside chance of being a work, and Tony brought up that and whether he knew it would actually happen on that exact same call. He said, "You were, I don't want to comment beyond this, but you were sitting 5 feet away," to the person who asked, and he said, "I did not know. No, I did not know, but I will not comment beyond that." This is the thing, it's like one of those things where he clearly wants to talk about it, but he also really doesn't want to talk about it. And the interesting thing here is really the refusal to shut the door on Punk in AEW. Tony's kind of wishy-washy answers leave this really slim outside chance that Punk and the company could actually repair and return to a working relationship. But that's obviously not where most wrestling pundits think this story is heading. Also on the call, TK refused to comment on the investigation into the Elite that spun out of that backstage brawl. Look at him, ducking and diving like a true wrestling CEO. I'm almost proud. I'm almost proud. Now, the mystery at the heart of this story has also been perpetuated by the silence from all parties, including Punk, who has been completely radio silent, bar this appearance as a commentator on an MMA show, and now an Instagram story, because Punk shared an uplifting post to his stories of his training summary and a sneaky little update on the recovery of his foot injury. It read, "First time doing road work since the broken foot. For anyone out there going through it, the light at the end of the tunnel is you." But what are you getting in this shape for, Phil? CM Punk to AEW return. Confirmed. Now, as reported earlier this week by Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, that Raw's Kevin Owens had unfortunately suffered an MCL sprain in his right knee while working a dark match with Austin Theory. Now, according to Meltzer, Owens is currently rehabbing the injury at the WWE Performance Center, with his recovery timetable being unknown. Now, KO was reportedly being kept off of TV lately, reportedly due to a delay in Owens' planned reunion with Sami Zayn, thanks to how over Zayn's storyline with the Bloodline has now become. However, this whole absence was reportedly set to come to an end at next week's Survivor Series War Games, with Owens set to become the final teammate of the Good Guy team, facing off against the Bloodline inside the double cage. But obviously, injury. And while this news is truly gutting, as that would have been absolutely amazing, perhaps all is not as bad as it seems, as it has also been reported by Fightful Select that despite the injury, Owens is still in fact currently on the road with WWE. As well as that, according to PW Insider, he is also currently advertised both this week's and next week's SmackDown, so maybe, just maybe, there's still a slither of hope for an Owens War Games appearance. As is well documented by now, Triple H can't quite get enough of opening his arms wide and welcoming in all the wrong talent that were released by his father-in-law. I make amends for the things that Daddy did. And now it could be set to add a few more names to that ever-growing list, as according to the Wrestling Observer, NJPW's Jonah, formerly known as Bronson Reed in NXT, currently has a WWE contract offer on the table. However, it's currently unclear whether he will take up the offer or continue his successful stint in Japan, which is actually it's been good for him. So yeah, while that one isn't exactly a guarantee, how about one that is thought to be a done deal within WWE, at least according to Dave Meltzer, because the talent in question being the much-rumoured Chelsea Green, who along with her husband Matt Cardona have been the subject of a lot of interest from WWE recently. Speaking on Green's status, Meltzer said, WWE bound, most likely. It's been talked about within the company as it's something that is happening. Can't confirm a contract signing, but can confirm that they are talking about it as if it is a done deal within the company. The thing is though, despite Green looking on the verge of a WWE contract, Cardona's chances of re-signing are less nailed on, as he has made it clear he does not want to become Zack Ryder again. However, that hasn't stopped him teasing fans on social media. Moving on, and by now we've become accustomed to the idea of current undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns taking the odd premium live event off, usually only really showing up for the big ones and missing the likes of Extreme Rules or your Hell in a Cell. Well, it looks like we can add February's Elimination Chamber to that list, as the poster for the event has been revealed and there is nary a tribal chief in sight. While this is not exactly a massive shocker, it does effectively dampen the expectation that we could see a Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn title match at that show, which I want and I wish it was going to happen, and was speculated due to it taking place in Zayn's hometown of Montreal. It also means that post-Rumble, Reigns is unlikely to defend his title again until WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood. And the thing is, it's not like anyone expected Reigns to actually lose his titles before then anyway, but I do hope that they actually have something big planned for Zayn on February the 18th, because it seems like a waste not to throw the Zayn and Reigns through the match. Hopping the fence back to AEW now, and despite the most prominent news from TK's press conference unsurprisingly being CM Punk related, another question going into it was the current status of the still current AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa, because Thunder Rosa is expected to miss the rest of the year with an ongoing back injury and has not appeared on TV since just prior to All Out in September. And despite this, Rosa is still in fact the current champion, with Toni Storm holding the interim women's title ever since. The decision to persist with the interim title has been argued publicly by Storm, who recently commented on the situation via an interview with the Ringer's Cameron Hawkins. She said of Rosa, "Personally, I think she should just come to work and defend her championship like she's supposed to, like a champion should, but if the injury lingers too long, I believe she should probably be stripped." And as for TK, when asked about Rosa, he said, according to Wrestling Inc., "I am trying to give Thunder Rosa every chance to come back and defend the championship, but eventually you would have to crown a lineal champion." Sticking with that press conference, because another highlight of TK's Full Gear presser was a much anticipated update into the current health of the currently sidelined Hangman Adam Page. Page has been out of action since October the 18th with a concussion following a very scary lariat spot from Jon Moxley during the main event. And now, while the concussion diagnosis was quite frankly a bit of a relief at the time, considering how severe it initially looked, fans have feared for Page's health since, especially considering Page's former rival Adam Cole's lengthy ongoing absence due to his own concussion suffered back at Forbidden Door in June. Thankfully, however, Tony Khan has shed light on Page's current status, saying Page is doing well and is looking forward to his in-ring return. And despite the lack of time frame given on a return by Khan, it's great news nevertheless to know that Page is well and on his way back to our screens. Get well soon. Okay, so with Full Gear only a day away, could there be some troubling news for one of the show's marquee matches? Because according to Fightful Select, the Acclaim's Anthony Bowens seemed to have aggravated his shoulder during his match with Swerve Strickland on Dynamite. This was later confirmed by Bowens on Twitter, who uploaded a photo of himself visiting the Rolling Stone building in New York City while sporting an arm sling. However, Fightful does note that it is currently unclear whether the injury is legit or if it's being worked into the story, as Swerve was targeting the arm throughout the match, which would point towards this whole thing being a bit of an angle. And if so, fair play to Bowens for keeping kayfabe alive on Twitter. As is tradition in AEW around this time of year, a World Championship Eliminator tournament has also been held, the conclusion of which typically comes at the Full Gear pay-per-view. And that was set to be the case once again this year. However, things have now changed, and now the tournament's final is going to take place on next week's edition of Dynamite from Chicago, Illinois instead. The change was revealed at Tony Khan's pre-Full Gear press conference, with the reasoning behind it being an unspecified injury to Ricky Starks. Now, as a result of the injury, Starks was unable to be cleared for his match with Lance Archer, which was set to take place on the November 11th edition of Rampage. Instead, the Starks versus Archer match is now set for tonight's episode of Rampage, with the winner facing Brian Cage on the Full Gear 0 Hour pre-show. And then the winner of that will of course face Ethan Page next week for a shot at the AEW World Championship, in the future. Now, this delay of the whole thing seems to suggest that Starks may be in for a successful run in the tournament. He might be getting through this match and going to the final, but that, of course, is sheer speculation on my part. He might just get squashed on Rampage. Who knows? Happy weekend. Have a nice time. I'll see you next week.
For almost 3 years, AEW was the biggest babyface in wrestling. They had 5-star in-ring matches, they had long-term storytelling, and they had all your favorite wrestlers that WWE had fired. But then, the most perfectly executed double turn since Bret Hart and Stone Cold at WrestleMania 13 happened. Tony Khan accidentally turned his entire promotion heel.